have come here first, that the technology in here it's capable. I really believe that it has the capacity to change the world. And so with that, this is something that we think is worthy of sharing more. And with that being said, if there's a part where you're actually speaking, I'll always ask permission before sharing it. So don't worry, it's going to be exclusive, and only if when you speak, I'll always reach out to you. And you say no worries about that, okay? So you feel comfortable with that, just continue, press continue, and we're going to continue moving forward in Flowmasters. So I'm going to open up everybody with letting you just know a little bit about, of course, what Flowmasters is not about. And let me just open it up for some of the people in Flow fam that come here. What is Flowmasters not?
Not a rap battle.
It's not a rap battle. That's right. We're not here to compete against one another, compete against each other. What else? What else is Flowmasters not?
It's not about being comfortable.
There you go. Okay, it's not about being comfortable either, right? We're going to get into the flow cycle, right? For some that are new here. It's not about being comfortable, and it's not about rhyming necessarily. It's not about trying to posture or to be like this cool, or try to be a cool rapper or think that you have to be. But what is Flowmasters then?
It's a place for authentic self-expression.
Yeah. And you can even just think about that for yourself. It's like, what does it really feel like for you when you're really honestly expressing yourself?
It's a place where I allow myself to speak freely without filters, or practice taking off my filters.
Yeah, absolutely, CK. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else?
Connecting to our highest self beyond the social programming. That way we channel into our highest potential so that we can change our world.
I like what you said, to access our highest self so we can change our world.
Nice. I'm going to throw one. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Marcus.
Sorry, Gavin. I'm going to throw one in there. It's a place where we can kind of honor that we're not trying to get out of the struggle or stay in flow all the time, but there's actually like a cycle to flow, and struggle, you're not in trouble, that you're actually moving through a kind of a predictable cycle, and maybe arriving at flow and then falling out of it again, and then finding yourself struggling to get back into it. So we celebrate that and we honor that here.
Ooh, that's beautiful. This is great. There's a lot of people that are returning here, so we really want to make it more interactive, where it becomes more of an integrative experience. Thank you all. Like, all of those are completely acceptable responses. And that's really what it is coming here and really bringing on our truth. Because, I mean, the truth of the matter is that, there's certain spaces where it may not be deemed appropriate to truly express ourselves and to be unfiltered. And so, I find it really important to have these safe containers. That what would it really be like if I allowed myself to be that way? And there's a great saying that goes that to release is to receive. And there's so many times where, if y'all know if you relate to me, that I can harbor things. And I hold on to it, and it evolves into like resentment. It evolves into bitterness or resignation. And so in these spaces, even when we go into anger, into these other places of disappointment, every single time without fail, it's my experience inside of the Flowmaster space, that it comes back to this thing that movies are made of, that things that books talk about. And it comes back to a place of love, a place of wanting to understand, a place of compassion. And I see love as the umbrella. And so when you come for whatever kind of emotions you come with, oftentimes people end up feeling this sense of connection and love, which is actually one of the human needs in human needs psychology, one of the 6, which we won't get too much into. But Sable, is there anything else you wanted to add to that, to what was already mentioned? You gotta unmute yourself though first.
I would just like to add that I agree. It does always come back to love, and that is one of the most amazing things about this space. So I love everyone in this room, and really going to enjoy myself over the next 90 minutes.
Yeah. And so we do have some newcomers, so welcome, Chuck, to the space as well. Repetition is the language of the brain, I always say. And so for the people, they hear this over again. but I always do my due diligence to see how I can spice up the introductions as well. And there's two things that continue to stand, right? And they're two Flowmaster's principles that can also be applied into life. And the first one is that flow is just around the corner. And essentially just what that means is that it's like sometimes you're going to find yourself stuck. You might find yourself stuck during these exercises, and that's okay. That's completely okay. All right? And it's not going to be a morality thing, or it's not a good or bad thing if you find yourself stuck. It's actually just a part of what Marcus was talking about, right? About that struggle, about being a part of the struggle, which is the first part of the flow cycle. All right? And if you just think of SURFR, SRFR, it's a great acronym. You ride the wave of flow for the flow cycle. So it's struggle, which is about that, an activity that you're going to be engaging in. It should be pretty difficult. It actually should be a little more difficult than your skill level, because from that, then you have to exert some level of effort. And to provide, there's a few gifts. One of the gifts is that when something's hard enough, like, you have to actually try. I mean, you actually have to put a little bit of what Jason Silva calls, it's a dance between discipline and surrender. It's not all surrender and it's not all discipline. You find the sweet spot where you're massaging both of them. And when you do that, when something is not way too hard, right? It's kind of like too much information coming at you, you can be overloaded, right? You could think about a time when you felt overloaded. So much data coming at you. How did that kind of feel for you? If you can think about a time like that. Don't speak all at once. Well, for some, it might be frustrated, right? It might be, oh man, even to the point where I'm just going to give up because there's so much going on that you just want to check out. But then on the other hand, there could also be a checking out coming from a place of, here, let me actually see. Some people are writing in here. Look, right? For me, it's slicing traffic on my motorcycle. Ooh, that probably takes a little effort where you really probably have to be in flow if you're going that fast too. So you've experienced flow. We all experience flow in different ways. And we're all going to be able to experience it today if we trust ourselves. And so basically, if it's also there's not enough information coming at us, and it's the skill and the challenge is too easy for too long, eventually it might be mundane. It might be sedentary. It might be boring. And that's why it's important to have that skills challenge ratio where the challenge is a little higher, and you're going to experience that today. And the second one is the most important one. All right, it really is talking about the environment that we surround ourselves with, right? Our environment, and it's called flow. It's called rally the cipher, and that's just a really kind of like a hip way of saying that this space is a space where you can really be yourself and also explore yourself. And so that means when we're in flow state, we're basically they're not going to say it scientifically, but essentially what it is that you're not judging yourself. You're so enmeshed in the moment that four things are happening. You experience a sense of selflessness. Time becomes illusory. You can't tell the time. It's like a timelessness. And then after we get to that part of we overcome and we get from release, which is after that struggle, into release where we relax in the flow state right there. And so what Rally the Cipher is that whoever's speaking, we want that person to get in flow state to where they're not judging themselves. So that's just a point of reflection for when you find it's just a point of reflection of what kind of space are we holding? Are we going to be judging that person if we want to hold the space for them not to judge themselves? Probably not, right? That doesn't sound like an aligning recipe. So we're going to hold a space where whatever is being coming, whatever they're expressing, it's okay for them. It's safe for them to do that. And so for one example is that if you really are down for that, can we all agree with that? And a way that you can represent it is by doing a reaction sign. You can either do the thumbs up or just like the hand clap, just to let us know, hey, you know what? I'm down for that. I could see the benefit of that. And I want to make sure that we're all on board here because that's what makes this space so special. That's what makes people want to come back, because underneath it, we all want to feel heard. We all want to feel understood to some extent. And that's where a lot of resentments and anger can come from. It's actually seeking love in disguised as anger, disguised as resentments. The Flowmaster really runs deep. That's why I really believe it can change the world. say what's up, bro, before we hop in. We hop into our little parallel universes. Is there anything else you want to add?
Only that I've heard this pretty much at the beginning of every Flowmasters, but I think it is very important to go over these concepts again. And the group flow, Chuck, you're going to experience it today. I don't know if you're going to be in my room or Gavin's room, but it's going to be like riding your motorcycle, slicing through traffic, but you're going to have the same amount of fun. And I really look forward to hearing what your feedback is after you go through this session. And everybody else, super happy to see your faces. I very much look forward to every Friday spending the next 90 minutes with you. And Flow is around the corner. I'm ready to rally the cipher. Gavin, thank you for giving me the opportunity again, and let's go.
Oh, here we go. I love this. All right, so what we're going to do, let me actually move somebody else into mine. Let me go into, how about, let's go right here. Boom. Here we are. All right, so what we're going to do, everybody, is Sable's my partner in crime right here. So we're going to have 2 breakout rooms. There's kind of a lot of people here. And when we go into breakout rooms, it allows us to have more, I call it touch points. We have more opportunities to actually share, to hold space. And it's a lot more fruitful that way. So at 6:20, what we're going to do is we're going to have 60 minutes. And all of the introductions, we're going to get to know each other inside of this flow space. So as a little ritual, why don't we all just put our little fists together right here? If we all could do that. Yeah. All right, right here, okay? All right, we're about to embark into parallel universes. You're not going to know which room you're going to be in, and that's a part of it, trusting the process. And just go ready, set, flow.
Marcus, my
Sable!
brother from another mother. How are you?
I'm good, man. Good to
Oh.
be in here with you. I haven't been in a room with Kim before either.
There are 3 women in here and 2 men.
Nice.
Wow.
Very nice. I love it.
Yeah.
I feel blessed. I feel blessed.
Me too. Me too.
We have 3 queens in the room.
Whoa, yeah.
Yes, yes.
And the nice queens, you know?
All the queens are nice, in my opinion.
That is true. That is true.
Nice queen. Give me some.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, let me make sure. Can you guys hear the music okay?
No.
No, I don't hear, unfortunately.
Oh, hold on. That's because I haven't played a song yet. Here we go.
Nice, running away, far side.
Very good, Marcus.
I
You
used to
are
spin-
really, you are earning the A in Asian today.
I used to spin hip hop a whole bunch of years ago.
Come here, Zena.
Ooh, who's coming? Who's coming?
Hey, Dilla.
All right. Ooh, we got a
More animals. I hooked up, Kim. I hooked up my camera to show Molly.
Oh, Molly! Oh my god!
I love it. We got the canines with us today.
What's Kimberly, your dog's name?
Zena, like the warrior.
Oh, Zina and Molly, wow.
Ah, beautiful.
Oh, Molly, like the medicine.
And my dog is named Athena, like the warrior, but also the goddess of wisdom as well.
I want to show you one more here.
Or the animal breakout room.
Ooh,
What was that?
Baby.
little cat, right?
Yeah, her name is Metta. In English, it means loving kindness.
Oh, Metta
She's a
Parma.
Buddhist, so.
In the Pali language.
Yes.
Ooh, I love it. Well, thank you everyone for coming and joining this Friday. As Gavin said, we're here to help facilitate group flow. And before we begin, you know, we always want to start off with the intentions that we're coming in to this week's session. So my intention today, as I mentioned earlier in a group chat, is to really have more emotional range in my rhymes today. So I'm really going to be pushing for a little bit more dynamism in my voice. So that is my intention. What about you, Marcus?
Well, you know, I really want to play on my rhyming game, and I'm always a little afraid to just fall off because I'm not as good as I'd like to be. But I'm gonna really lean into it. You know, I'm gonna really lean into the saying what. Yeah, I'm gonna lean into my rhymes, even if it makes me feel like a total fool.
Okay, really leaning into the rhymes. Well, I never thought you had a problem with that, but we will see the improvement today. Yeah. Kemma, what about you?
I'm just kind of practically into the flow right now. So,
Okay.
yeah, I gotta toast to another queen first.
Okay. Kim, what about you?
When you said leaning into the rhymes freaks you out, I had this moment of freak out. I was like, oh, I've never leaned into rhymes before, and I'm just gonna not do as well. And there's a fear. I gotta lean into it. So I'm gonna have the same intention as you, Marcus. I'm gonna lean into the rhymes, even if the flow is gonna be more struggly, but that's all part of the process.
Ooh,
Yes.
Yes. Yes, we are all going to be really pushing ourselves today. And Cynthia, what about you?
My intention is for probably human connection, deeper human connection. I've been finding myself kind of emotionally detached from a lot of things, especially from this week. So I thought, I think I need to show up today.
You know, I've also been in my head a lot this week, thinking about all these different things that I have to get done and really not being there emotionally for my wife and my kids, because I've just been kind of just really trying to power through some things over here. So I'm also going to really work on that human connection in addition to the dynamism in my voice today. So, you know what? With that said, we're all pretty experienced here. I know, Kemma, you're a little bit new, and usually with the new people, we start off with the scatting, but if you're feeling, pretty comfortable to just jump into the rhyming, do you want to do some scatting to start to kind of loosen up, or are you ready to just start rhyming?
So I don't know what is really rhyming, to be honest. I mean, English is my second language, so I'm still catching up. And then, oh, you too? Okay, great. Yeah, so I'm always feeling like trying, but trying is fun still, and sometimes not fun, struggle, but fun and struggle, and that's about my week too. And my intention in the flow this time is tapping into more collective power to raise a miracle for a person who I'm really pray for the miracle healing process.
Okay, awesome. All right, so you know what? I had a couple good prompts that I just wanted to start with, and I think that these will help us go a little bit more deep into ourselves. And I think just these two prompts will actually take up the next 53 minutes. So, Marcus, let's start with you. Let's start with you today. If you had no restrictions or limitations, what would you do with your life?
Oh, well, if I had no restrictions, I would be free for momentarily of any agitation and any complaints around money being an issue. I definitely would take care of my parents, make sure my parents are set, and knowing that I'm not staying behind because, my parents need me to take care of them. I would return to the Amazon and finish my studies there and stay with my teacher there, maybe live there for a year or 2 or 3, and finish what I started. I would build a business and hire all of you amazing people to do all the things that I think I need to learn for myself, but actually everyone knows how to do it already. And I would put together the most amazing elite crew of awesome human beings who would go around traveling, doing awesome workshops and enchanted magical theater and just being fucking awesome and touring the world. Yeah. That's probably what I'd do.
Oh, that's cool. And I was a little surprised that you were gonna say that you would like to return to the Amazon and finish the teachings with your teachers. That's really awesome. You know, I actually thought in our conversations that maybe that was a part that you were going to leave behind. So I'm actually like, that really makes me happy to hear that. And what also makes me happy is hearing about this really cool, like super learning, super fun facility that you're going to create for all of us to be teachers at.
Yeah, thanks, Abel.
Yeah. So Cynthia, you know, did you have anything to add about Marcus's share before you do your share?
Sure. God, it's I don't know if there's a whole lot to share. It's just, I mean, just kind of like just this whole week, I just feel like my emotions are in one place, and then my body's just here, just doing my daily thing, you know. So I'm just trying to pull myself back, and it's been a little bit of a struggle just doing that just this week. So I don't know if that adds to anything, but.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, not a whole lot to say all my time. Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you had no restrictions on money or limitations on time or anything, you know, what would you go do? What is your dream that you would go after?
No money or restriction. That's a good question. I haven't been thinking about that in a while. Probably just go backpacking for a month. For like half a year. I'll just go backpacking to like all throughout Asia. That would be so cool to do.
Yeah. And what is it about backpacking that you enjoy so much that if you had no limits on money or time, that's what you would choose to spend your time doing?
I like exploring, meeting people, trying, not so much maybe trying like really, really exotic foods, but I just want to get out there and just connect with the rest of the world rather than just being in my bubble.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like we need to go on a backpacking trip together.
Yeah. Let's do
Try
it.
some new foods together.
Yeah, that'd be really dope.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Kim, you know, what about you?
Not about the money and the stuff, not about the time. It's about the feeling of abundance of both. Of feeling like if I had the money, what could I spend it on? And if I had the time, what would I spend it on? And I already have both. It's sometimes this sense of scarcity that I have to save up for an emergency or for somebody else or for my future. I think the question I want to answer is, what would I spend on the present moment? And the answer is, what would I spend on the present flowment? It would be dance classes. I want to learn how to dance hip hop. Something that I was always told I was very awkward doing. They called me princess because I was dancing tango. Sometimes I felt like I was a mango on the dance floor, slipping and sliding and a little too upright. If I had no restrictions or the feeling of abundance at all times, you know, the life that I'm living is not so far from that right now. I really have to say that. It's, I would live the way that I lived today. I would live the way that I had lived all those summers at Burning Man, but today my bike broke down and I called up a stranger. Actually, the stranger called me up. She offered to pick up my bike and drive me and my bike to the bike store to get my tires pumped up. When I got there, it looked like there was a misting station. Everything was outdoors. And who would have known that that bike shop could have been more than what I already thought it was? I thought it was really fantastic. But it reminded me, just as Burning Man, the serendipity that happens today also happened last week and happened the week before. And it could have happened in a pandemic, and it could have happened outside of a pandemic. And some of the people that I met, I didn't even need to meet in person. It could be virtual. So I feel like I am having an abundant day.
Oh man. You know, oh, Kemma, did you have something to say?
Oh, I just said nice, but can I go then next?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have anything to say to Kim before you go, feel free to say that as well.
Yeah, it just resonates with me a lot about, the sense of abundance. It's not about money, it's not even about time, it's the mindset. The flow of the abundance, sense of abundance, sense of prosperity. And that is the real, true richness, wealth. And I'm getting into it, but a lot of moments. So, try to get over the skies today. Go with the flow of the life. If there's no restriction, then what I want to do is always, always, always be with and have fun with my feminine flow. Just to be. Keep creating, whatever that is, cooking, gardening, having fun with my inner child, my cats, going for a walk by myself, going to nature, hug the tree, talking to animals, go wild with the emotions without worrying that I'm going crazy. That's what I was worrying for the last 2 weeks. Full on cry, full on laughter. I thought I was crazy, but actually, it's going into the flow of the real feminine without any judgment, any negative self-talk against my being feminine, being artistic, just being me. So that's my true sense of prosperity and self-worth, rich self-worth. That's what I want to buy without restriction.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
You're welcome. I felt that. And you know, Kim, I was very happy to hear when someone says, my life wouldn't be so different than what it is right now. You know, what a wonderful, powerful, inspirational thing to be able to say. And Kemma, you know, I think, oh, whoops. Oh, that was Marcus. Sorry. I thought Marcus was talking to me. Is that, you know, what I got out of your share was that all the things that you want to do, you could actually still do them today. You know, just being more present, being able to express yourself unapologetically, really lean into the divine feminine power that you have. And those things were very warm and touching for me to hear. And I guess for myself, you know, I'd like to think I'm kind of closer to where Kim is, you know, where I don't think too much of it would change. What I would really like to do if I had all the time in the world is not worry so much about my 3 companies, how they're doing, having to do investor relations with my investors and try to make them feel safe about their investment. And it almost doesn't matter what our numbers are. They just want me to make it seem like today is good, but tomorrow will be better. And it gets very tiresome, you know, like painting that picture for people that only want to see what the numbers are and how the numbers are growing and don't really care about, hey, are your employees happy? Hey, are your customers happy? They just want to see the bottom line grow. So for me, you know, like if I had all the time and money in the world, I would sell my 3 companies and spend more time doing things like Flowmasters. You know, Marcus and I used to just call each other in the middle of the day and go on Facebook Live. But you know what? Marcus has gotten focused. I see him, you know, like he's not as around as much, but I know that he's doing his hard work right now. And for me, you know, I also have been, you know, hard at work trying to figure out, you know, what will I do after I sell my companies? And the great news is, you know, coming to Flowmasters, it's made a lot of things clear to me, which is I love interacting with people. I love helping people one-on-one. And I've actually been building my coaching business on the side. And I started just 2 weeks ago advertising my services, and I have 4 clients already. So now I'm really starting to see that there is a path to me selling my companies that I used to think was 18 to 24 months away, but now I'm seeing it might be closer to 3 to 6 months, and really being able to spend more time, creating, like you said, keep creating whatever, it doesn't matter, creating beautiful memories with my kids, creating new foods with my wife that could nourish our kids and our friends and family, creating safe containers like Flowmasters where we could all come together, 2 kings and 3 queens together, just having fun with each other, and this is what I believe is really going to allow us to take humanity to the next level. And I don't know what the next level is, but I do believe that we've seen the peak of what consumerism and capitalism can do, which is, now we're carrying computers in our pockets now, but at the same time, everyone's just staring at that computer, and do they have sovereignty of their mind, or is their mind part of the computer now? And ultimately, I do believe that capitalism and consumerism is what was required to create like such cool things as the internet, smartphones, being able to travel to space. But now that we are able to grow all of this food, take care of all of ourselves, I think it's time for us to get out of resource hoarding mentality and more into resource planning. And hopefully I hope that pandemics like COVID, where, the economy had to stop for a while and people had a chance to slow down, they could really start looking at what's important in their life. And I really think, I thank the universe for COVID, because without COVID, I wouldn't have found Flowmasters. And if I didn't find Flowmasters, I would still be really focused on my 3 companies, thinking that's the most important thing to me. And I have this fear that if that was my main focus, I would have been like my father who passed away during COVID. But the toughest thing for me to see was that he couldn't disconnect from being a CEO. He always identified as a CEO. So even when he was sick, he was trying to take care of people. He was trying to give them orders about what to do. And we were just trying to get him to relax, to just be a grandfather, to just be a father. That was enough for our family. But because he had such strong ties to his CEO identity, he couldn't. And I could easily see, had it not been for COVID, that I would have been just like my father. And that's why I'm so thankful that we had this time to slow down. I had time to watch Marcus's videos, and really go, what is this guy doing? He's singing children's songs, but he seems much more elevated than just someone doing, simple children's songs. And here we are with this beautiful community. So, thank you very much for allowing me to share that, and to share that with this group. And I appreciate, each and every one of you. So appreciations and gratitude for that.
Yeah, right on. Sable, I'm going to jump in and see if I can acknowledge you a little bit there. And I want to acknowledge you, that saying like, hey, it sounds like that, you made you really happy when you heard Kim say that, not much would change in her life. And given the opportunity to reflect on that you kind of feel like the same way, you're on a good trajectory, and getting some really beautiful affirmations like, oh, there is a path outside of what seemed maybe further away, like to selling your businesses, and what's been really tiresome of like pleasing the investors, and obviously you've got this much this very other side of you that wants to, like, why don't you guys ask me about my employees, and how are they doing, and and it's just awesome to hear you keep on talking about your dream of growing food and the chickens and your parents and your kids, and really what really touched me was that you really took your time to let the whole expression come out, which really came down to about the beauty of you and your father, and seeing that, if it wasn't for COVID, this kind of world pandemic, you might have missed this really beautiful opportunity to, you might have found yourself on the same path as your father, who had a really hard time, disconnecting from the shackles of being CEO, right till his so yeah, I just want to acknowledge that, Sable. That's awesome. it really touched me. It really touched me. I didn't know that about your father. And thanks for the prop. So yeah, I'm gonna pass it back to you, Sable.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for that, Marcus. I felt like my share was going on a little bit too long, and I didn't know if I was taking up too much time. So I appreciate that, and it does remind me I am in a safe container too, so I could express myself however I want, and not just always have to be the person holding space. Because as Gavin says, to give is to receive, and if you could also receive, you could give better. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no, that's great, Sable. I always cut myself short, and after when you go, I'm like, oh man, you really need to give yourself like the whole digestion, So thanks for modeling that.
You're
I would
welcome.
also acknowledge that thank you for sharing your vulnerable, your personal story. That is a courage. When people share their personal, vulnerable, emotional story, it is hard. It is hard to do, especially women too, for sure. Men, So really appreciate that, So I didn't really formulate it long, first of all, and then I really that strength and the spirit that shows respect for all of us here. So that itself is just connected to ourselves. Thank you. And just the one thing that while you were talking about the new economy, how you can navigate through the different kind of alternative, healthier version of our community and economy, and the new kind of innovative kind of, community builder. So when you're talking about that, I was actually thinking about two books. Just want to share, I don't want to do this kind of thing with the flow, but exception. This is what makes me really happy nowadays to read, so I highly recommend.
Ooh, yes. Hey, please put the names of those in the comments. I would love to go check out those books afterwards. Thank you.
Sure. So I just want to say one thing because it resonates with me, connected to see what you shared about your vision and how you're practicing ecological practices and stuff. One of my activist friends, I used to be activist in South Korea before I came to North America, and one of my socialist feminist friend, who now eco-feminist, just traveled the UK, like 14 years ago, and then met a community there, local community there who practiced permaculture, and then she felt intuitively knew that this is it, this is the future. And then she brought that idea as a designer, she's a designer too, back to South Korea. She started small scale, just starting from the garden in the countryside where her mom lives alone, And then it spread out. It's been 13 years. Now she has a permaculture school, workshops, conferences, villages. She's leading the entire permaculture ecologization of ecological agriculture movement in South Korea. Never know where you are initiating right now. So
Wow.
I think honor that kind of thing, and then we can start. I'm starting from my own garden, my own tiny little plant growing. I think we can create the amazing future. Just small tiny baby step from right now.
Oh,
So
thank you. Hey, thank you for that, Kema. I mean, yeah, as you can see, I have a bunch of little plants back here too, and I have a small garden downstairs where we've actually grown so many tomatoes where, we love tomatoes, but we've given away like boxes of these, and it really impressed me that, when I saw what we could grow in a small garden, when I thought about even if we had just a half acre, how much food we could grow. And one thing I could tell you is I didn't select any of the genetics. I just bought seeds from Home Depot. But when you grow your own food, I think it's the freshness of eating it. But when you eat fresh cut vegetables, they taste so much better than anything store bought. And it really made me a believer that this is how I want to spend the rest of my life, is something more simple where I'm growing my own food. My kids will watch us working hard on the farm and seeing where the food comes from. And ultimately, hopefully it's something that, they'll remember when they're younger as they're older and, cherish those memories that they were able to have that type of childhood growing up.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's
All
amazing.
right. All right. So I wanted to jump into our next prompt, which is, what is a limiting belief that you are trying to overcome? And I'll go first, actually. So let me see if I could actually rhyme this one. Let me turn up the music just a smidge. All right. So, all right. I got a limiting belief that I'd like to share. People don't really know that I think this way. Life ain't too fair. I think that people only follow my orders because I pay their paycheck. I feel like people only like me because they could get free vaporizers from me. I feel like without the investors' money, people wouldn't think I knew what I was doing. And ultimately, I needed to get rid of those limiting beliefs because I realized that I have investors investing in me because of me. My customers love our products because of me. My employees follow my orders, not because I pay their paycheck, but because they see me as a leader that also doesn't just tell people to do things, but he does what he says too. So those are things that I really am working on to break through some of these limiting beliefs because they are whack. They gotta go back because we gotta rhyme because this is our time. Yo, it's Freestyle Friday. I got Marcus here and he just goes away. Yeah, he's gonna lean into the rhyming. So is Kim, and then we'll be big timing. And we got Cynthia. She guys gotta connect with her emotions and not just with her head because I could tell that work is stressful. But when you don't connect with their body, it gets more stressful. And let those emotions out. This is what Friday's about. We gotta let it all out. And Kemma, she don't speak English that well, but she expresses herself so beautifully. It doesn't even matter because I could feel those words. And even if I don't understand all of them, I feel all of them. And that's what makes me really feel good. And sharing my limiting beliefs feels really good too because a lot of people think I'm just this confident dude, but deep down I'm like, I'm a small dude and I'm really trying to work hard to understand what my own power is like and that I don't need investors behind me. I don't need to be in magazines. I don't need to have all this money in the bank for my company to feel like I'm worthwhile and I'm worthy of the love and respect that I get. And that's something that is new to me because I always felt it was tied to something. And now that it's just tied to myself, I have this new part of my life where I feel like I could just grow and not let my younger self get in the way, which so many times did get in the way. But at the same time, I do also realize that the insecurities that I had, the anxiety that I had as a kid that caused me to try to become a better person, to try to be a person that accomplished more, ultimately is what drove me to today. But at the same time, having the understanding that I was driven by anxiety, driven by trying to prove people wrong, not driven by what I really want to do. Now that I have that clarity, I think at the age of 43, what a gift. What a gift to be able to just recognize these things that I used to do and not be held back by those things, but to use those things as a great way of saying, yes, Sabo, this is what built you. You don't need to be embarrassed. That's how many people get built too. But now that you recognize that that's where it came from, let's change that intention to something more powerful, something more sustainable, something where you're not proving other people wrong. You're just proving yourself right. And that is the limiting belief that I am trying to get past.
Yeah, Sabo. Well, thanks for opening the door. Now I got my 2 feet solid on the floor. It's the rhyme time, it's like the underarm, left hook, right hook, knee to the face. What a disgrace. I bring violence to this space, but I'm just joking around. I got this belief that maybe I'm gonna be single for the rest of my life. Like, I don't know if that's really a belief, but shit. Well, it feels like it's true. But But yeah, I'm getting really stuck. But you know, Kim's behind me because she's like, we're gonna do this rhyme thing together. And Sable is gonna be like, I'm gonna push my emotional range. And so for the last 8 years, I've been learning how to love myself and walk. Oh man, it's so Lord, her son Lord, and you know, there's so many. Well, you know, let's just call it. It's like adulting, right? Like I did some pretty good things in my life, but man, there's some things that I'm still learning how to do, like keep a goddamn budget, and you know, and like just keep the fridge clean and shit like that, and. Yeah, it's frustrating, but that's what I'm up to. And so when you were like, what would you do if I had lots of free time and lots of money? I still got to learn these basic things, you know? Doesn't matter. I could go fly.
Marcus, we can't hear you.
Maybe that's, you know, the truth. I want to send a rocket through the roof. I want to put my tongue on the roof of my thumb. Yeah, that if I just, you know, push through these feelings of not feeling numb, kind of feeling dumb, that nobody will. I don't know. It's not about being liked. It's about you know, making it to the finish line. So yeah, in my own time. That's right, in my own time. Not with my mother breathing down my neck and telling me to hurry the fuck up, and I'm like, Mom, I need time. And yet I get it. You know, it's so urgent. Like, you know, there might not be $1. I was watching The Hidden Secrets of Money today, and I never used to care about that shit, but now I've got to learn about gold and silver. Fuck. So anyways, those are just some of my I don't know if they're limiting beliefs, but that's what I got. So anyways, and you can't even see me. Okay.
There we go. There we go.
Push through. I pushed through.
You definitely pushed through. And you know what, Marcus, you know, I know that you've been wanting to adult for a long time, but what impressed me the most in that flow was you stayed in the struggle for such a long time. And I know what you're talking about. Usually when you struggle like that, you pass it off to someone. And I sensed like maybe 2 or 3 times you were about to do that, but you didn't. So as far as I'm concerned, you are at level 10 of living into your intention right now. And you even dealt with, I mean, the technical difficulties. You just plugged your microphone back in. We couldn't hear you for half of it, but it didn't matter. And me and Cynthia, I could tell we were very much enjoying watching your forehead dance. All right, well, let me take it to your partner in crime on the rhyming intention. Kim, what about you? What is a limiting belief that you are working through right now?
Yeah, this is a limiting belief I've had for my entire life. Brought me a ton of strife. Let me tell you a story about my body. Once upon a time, I was 7 pounds, 5 ounces. And then I was 50 pounds. And then I was 90 pounds. And as a kid growing up in Taiwan, I always thought I was fat. So in the 6th grade, I started taking my grandmother's laxatives when I realized that it could give me temporary relief from being bloated. I was 11 years old at that time. In the 7th grade, that's when I started to overeat. And that's because my brother got depression. And I used food as suppression from fear and anger and sadness. So that emotions wouldn't drive me into madness, I used food to numb, and I gained a lot of weight. And in college, I started to dance tango, and that's when I started to grow confident about my body, about being seen. For the very first time, I wore something that wasn't a long sleeve. I wore a short sleeve t-shirt. At the age of 20, I bought my first bikini. I was I skipped my senior trip because I didn't want to be seen. Not my body, not that thing that I thought was disgusting. But in college, tango brought me confidence and joy. The ability to enjoy life without having to worry. And interestingly, I've had a lot of beautiful loves and romances and partners. But when I broke up with my ex-boyfriend in 2018, I fell into another depression hole. Same thing as before, back in middle school. Sadness, anger, fear. And the body that I had held so dear, I stuffed with my emotions. My weight now, compared to last year, I'm 30 pounds heavier. And it was incredibly difficult for me to accept that I am still me. And that was a struggle, and I still have that limiting belief, although I'm starting to come a really far way and coming to the place of gratitude for this weight gain, of being able to now speak so openly about it in a public setting with men and women, with my mom and my dad. I talk about how I eat my emotions just like somebody who might have an addiction to cigarettes, like my grandfather who died of lung cancer. I can now speak about it openly and help others who may have been in that journey. And yesterday I went to the gym. The personal trainer, I get a free session, tells me, here are your numbers. I just did a fat caliper test. I said, and he said, I'd like to see them go from here to here. And I said, Don, thank you so much for your care. I've tracked every single weight for the last 5 years, at least once a month, with a spreadsheet with everything that I ate and drank and bowel movements and sleep and productivity and emotionality. I tracked all of those things in a spreadsheet for 3 years. So the numbers were important to me once upon a time, but now I don't care about the number, Don. I just want to be consistent, and I want to strengthen my body to a way that I feel really good. And he looked really surprised. And he said, yeah, that's where we should be going and what we should be doing. And so here's a limiting belief that I'm trying to overcome, and I'm not there yet. And thank you for being there with me.
That resonated with me on so many levels. You know, I was like the smallest and skinniest kid growing up, and you know, in PE, when we would have to put on our shorts, I would always want to wear sweatpants underneath my shorts because I didn't want people seeing my skinny legs. Or if we had to go swimming, you know, like I'd be like, can I swim in my t-shirt, you know? And as I got older, you know, I really wanted to be like super hyper muscular, and you know, like that was my goal in the gym. I used to drink like protein shake after protein shake after protein shake, just bloating myself. And you know, it's interesting, just like you know, I kind of made this mental shift like, hey, I want to work out for my health, you know, not for a specific look. And yeah, by the way, Kim, I think you're a beautiful person, both inside and out. And I mean, your energy and everything, to me, it transcends physicality. You know, like there's a power and softness and kindness to your soul that really comes through. And I just want to let you know from my side, it's like that transcends anything to me, you know, and that's what makes you powerful to me, and why I'm so happy to have you in our group. And I'm also happy to see that you are starting to work through this, and you've seen that this has been a habitual thing. And also, you know, it's kind of interesting, it's, you know, demons that we have conquered in the past and how they could kind of sneak up on us, you know, at a separate time in our lives. And, you know, I once asked an enlightened person, or who I thought was enlightened, you know, what is enlightenment? You know, what happens when you reach enlightenment? And they said, well, enlightenment is like cleaning your room. Your room eventually gets messy again, you know. And, you know, I really quickly, at first I was very confused, but then I understood, you know, especially now that I'm 43, is like there have absolutely been times where everything was aligned in my body, but there have also been times when I had to deal with the same demons. They just surface themselves in different situations. So I'm really glad that you were able to catch that and work on it and share that with us. So thank you very much, Kim.
I think I have to say something about connecting with the Kimberly's story. It resonates so much, I was crying a bit. My limiting belief that resonates with your beautiful, amazing story. Thank you, by the way, for sharing that such an amazing story, such an empowering, inspiring story here. My limiting belief that I'm working on, literally in a training, in a therapy training that I am in, is all about that sentence. I'm not good enough. Transform to the I am enough. So the limiting belief is I'm not good enough. And the second one connected to that is I'm not worthy of living, and I'm not worthy of being loved. It affects every aspect of my upbringing, my adaptation, the way I feel and perceive and respond and react in every moment in my life nowadays, especially in terms of self-image and also body shape. Very weird story that it strangely resonates very well with the Kimberly's is I'm from South Korea, and I never really heard that my body, my face is pretty. I'm decent, I'm okay, but maybe the best figure. And also, I hated that the kind of feminine evaluation system. So I was like, fuck you. I don't need your evaluation about my shit. So I was tomboy. I look down on femininity. Never want to be seen as a feminine too much because it's dangerous, it's risky, it's weak. So I didn't like it. Even I looked down at girls. I went to middle school, high school, girls, middle school, high school. I didn't like the competition among girls to try to be seen pretty, skinny, pretty, docile, feminine. I don't know anything about the politics. I'm not interested in anything about economics. I only want to be seen pretty, look praise. I didn't want to just like, okay, I'm not in that competition. I'm not interested in that kind of market, so I'm not gonna do anything feminine. And I didn't want to give a shit about home economics that I have to take and stuff, and then what my mother forced me to be, a good wife to a man. So, even though I was constantly trained, I was refusing to honor that the power of a femininity, and I looked down on it for almost 20 years. Now, I am restructuring of the value system. Because even after my migration to Canada, people started saying, not only men but also women, saying that, wow, you have a nice body, you have a nice face. But here, an Asian woman with a small eye, wears a jar, it's exotic. But it never seemed as exotic whatsoever in South Korea. I was told that I should change the eyes, the small face, like skinny, and whiter skin. But then my skin color and everything becomes so socially accepted. And I didn't see it as a real person. And I was puzzled, oh, people are like nice. That's how I've been thinking about my body. And my mom. Whenever I visit my mom in Korea, saying, oh my god, you're getting old. I'm gonna be 40. Oh, you're getting old. Look at the wrinkles. Look at your belly. You're getting fat. That's why you're single still. You know? That's why you're not getting a good man to stay in a relationship with you. And I said to my mom, you used to be arguing, but now instead just jokingly saying, as Kimberly does, courteously to all parents, I just say to my mom, Mom, do you see this big movie? It's not very Asian, right? Like, not many Korean girls have a big boobs. You know, Mommy, this big movie comes with the big fat juicy belly together. You can't separate them. Okay? I'm not interested in plastic surgery to do some surgery here and then just have a big boob. It's weird. So if you think that it's beautiful to attract a woman, then you gotta accept my belly too. So that's one of the part of the story attached to my limiting belief. I'm not good enough. I'm never gonna be good enough. I'm not gonna be worthy of living of my own, living not worthy of being loved because I'm not good enough. So I am translating my own language to my subconscious mind. No matter what the fuck other people say, including my mom, just say, no thank you, I don't buy that kind of shit. What I'm buying, I'm worthy. No matter what you say, no matter what I can be seen. I'm worthy, I'm loved, I love my fucking body. So who cares? So that's where I'm heading. So I think I'm in the same page with Kimberly in that journey. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, Kemma, thank you very much. I mean, that felt like watching a movie, just with words. And, you know, as I thought about my share, Kim's shares, your shares, you know, fundamentally it kind of all distills down to the same thing. You know, we're not good enough, and it manifests itself in different ways, but it is the same thing. So, you know, we could take solace that we're all in this journey together. And I think we could all agree we're all beautiful people here, regardless of any standards of society. And, you know, I could tell you this, I've never met any of you guys, but if you guys needed my help, if you guys had a car breakdown on the freeway and you guys called me at 2 a.m., I would get up and go get you guys. You know, and I can't say that, you know, for a lot of people that I've met in person, you know, so thank you. Thank you. Hey, Cynthia, I was curious before we pass it to you, you know, did you have any words to add to Kemma's share?
Yeah, I do. So I can relate a lot to what you're saying, Kemma, because I grew up in the community. I think Marcus and Sable already know, but I'm Japanese, but I grew up in an all-Korean community. So my high school was 90% Koreans. So I had classmates who went to college with me from high school. A lot of them went to Korea to get their eyelids done. So yeah, and some of my best friends are Korean. One of my friends who's like my little brother, my Tongsen, he's in the military. He talks to me every day, or not every day, but he always calls and checks up on me, make sure I'm okay. I have another one who's like a brother to me too. He annoys me, but I love him to death. But anyways, I understand everything you're saying because my high school was very much like image-based. Same with my neighbors. Everybody had to have the best cars, the best luck, best grades, who got into the best colleges. I understand all that. And a lot of them, they were like, even my sister went to one of those SAT boot camps. And so I understand like that whole body image thing too. I mean, for me, it didn't really affect me too much in high school, just because they've always told me like, you're different than me. You know, you're Japanese. I'm Korean, so we're different, but we're similar. I said okay. But I understand the whole body image just because I play sports too, and so I always felt like not the weight thing, but I would see a bunch of like younger skinny girls who would always outrun me, or they would kick my ass in some shape or form. And I always thought, man, why do those skinny bitches can beat me up, you know? And then when the quarantine happened, I used to be like, okay, I have to run like 8 miles a day, 9 miles a day, 10 miles a day. And I just gave up because I was like, I don't even know where I'm gonna play basketball again. Like, why am I stressing myself out? And so I just walk 2.5 miles every day, and that's good enough for me. You I just need to be out in the sun for a good half hour to an hour. Yeah. And that itself, like, is just good enough for me to get enough sun and be like, okay, I'm okay for the day. Yeah. And then you were mentioning that prompt earlier about that. What's the one belief that you're trying to overcome, right?
Yeah, correct.
So this is where I've been struggling for the last week, especially, is that I feel like everything's a lie out there. It's the media, just social media, everything. Even when I saw that video of Jacob Blake getting shot, I didn't feel anything. And it was like, and I had to question myself, like, how come I don't feel anything, So that's where I've noticed, like, I'm becoming more numb to a lot of the things that are happening in this world, because I feel like, I'm not saying that video is a lie, it's just people take parts of a story and they tailor it so that they can influence people, right? Rather than taking the whole picture and like, well, okay, this is the situation that happened, this is what happened, how can you resolve that? But it's just, and then for me, like, I watched the NBA to get away from all that, and then I was trying to pull up the Lakers game a couple days ago. I didn't even know all that happened because I'm trying to distance myself from the news. My roommate told me, like, oh, you didn't know? Like, they boycotted. And so I was just like, I felt like I couldn't say anything. I was just kind of like, okay, I'll just wait till they come back, So that disconnect is kind of, like, the other side of me is kind of like, why do you feel so disconnected, not emotionally connecting or feeling anything, So it's been a little difficult. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's because that's the norm or if that's because, like, maybe this is becoming, I don't know. I'm a realist. I don't like things that are tailored so you can influence other people. I feel like you should lay out all the facts. But at the same time, I tell myself, like, you have to forgive yourself to feel that way, right? And that it's okay to feel that way because it's only temporary. So, and then I just tell myself, like, you know what, you need to start, like, connecting with your friends again, maybe you'll kind of come back down and feel a little bit more connected to this planet. So, yeah. It's just a weird neutral feeling. It's like, it's not positive, but it's not negative either, right? So, yeah.
Kind of like more like a numbing feeling. And Kim, like, how did that land with you? I have a feeling you have something to say about that.
The numbing is a protection mechanism. And I'm very grateful for it because there were a lot of things that I wasn't ready for. My brother has attempted suicide many times and has been almost successful many times, and I wonder if my numbing mechanisms have helped me. And so when I hear that somebody has numbing mechanisms, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. Okay. And I've been there. Sometimes I'm still there. And sometimes when I'm there, I notice that I'm there just like you are now, and then I'm like, oh, thank you for protecting me. I sent you a link in the chat. My friends made a documentary. It'll be on Netflix September 9th. It's from the Center for Humane Technologies on exactly what you're talking about on influence.
Okay, I'll take a look at that. Thank you. Yeah, and then what you were saying about your brother, I've had a lot of family members pass away within the last 10 years, both my mom and dad's side. And what's funny? Actually, Gavin's relatives and my relatives are buried in the same cemetery, in the same Japanese section. It's really funny. That's what I found out when I got close to it. But anyways, yeah, it's been hard. It's hard. And so, even my cousin got a divorce last year, and his wife was like an older sister figure to me. And so even having her gone has been really difficult. I still dream that she came back, Yeah.
I think, Cynthia, you're connected to your emotions right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
It's so beautiful. Hi. Hi.
Hi. Try. Yeah.
And I have to say this, because that's what exactly I'm trying to do. Actually, little bit detached and going into a more neutral spot because I have been feeling, everybody feeling a lot, but I nowadays practicing channeling, which means I'm connecting not only the people in the physical proximity, but also what's happening in the world. What a crazy world nowadays, right? So it is kind of way of setting the boundaries as well. In a way, maybe it wasn't intentionally setting, but you were kind of trying to protecting yourself, and that's not a weakness or anything like that. Like it is a reasonable thing to do, and then it's actually grounding effects that we can purposefully tap into. Of course, we need to connect with our emotion system more, but like needs to be a little bit of balance. As I said, another limiting belief is that I'm not normal, I'm crazy. So that's what exactly, I'm artist, and I went through a lot of shit in my life. And one of the shit that I actually found today, I found a name card that I got from the hospital in Toronto. When right now I'm living in Vancouver, but I used to live in Toronto 5 years. And I got one name card from the hospital that I was stay for 72 hours because I tried to commit suicide. And that was a name card from social worker who specializes in suicide intervention. And I remember when I was desperately sitting in her office, a week later, my suicide attempt that broke my mom's heart crazy. My ex-partner torn apart, and I thought I was literally crazy. And she asked one question. I think you want to live, because otherwise you wouldn't come all the way here. Not many people who commit actual suicide made their way to come to see me within 2 weeks after the attempts. So you have an urge to live. But I think the real question that you are asking really hard to yourself is, I don't want to live like this. I want to live as I am, fully, but I don't want to live like this. That's why I chose that season. Am I right?
Yeah.
When she was asking that question, man, I lost myself. I was just crying crazy, weeping crazy, and I felt so hurt. That's it. That was it. But even then, it took me 2 years to get to this point. Even then, when Jacob's story came out, I was going nuts, just crying crazy in the middle of nowhere. And then the next moment, all of a sudden, I feel hopeful, and then I feel like I'm praying, and then I get some kind of hopeful kind of thing that it's kind of miraculous to get better. Then I'm laughing crazy. Then my self-talk is saying, "Oh, you're fucking crazy. Who's gonna think that you're normal? What the crazy? Just 10 minutes ago you're just wailing, and then now you're, And then I noticed that that's my limiting belief about when we are going through the wild emotion, that we keep telling myself that you are crazy, that you're too wild with your emotions. The second thing is, even though I believe that that's normal and that's beautiful, I noticed I'm getting old too. So when I go that much full scale emotion, I feel exhausted. So I think it's good to have some boundaries too, just to ground ourselves. Sometimes just take it easy. I think that's what you're doing. I don't think, and Kimberly said, you just share with us.
Yeah.
Beautiful tear and story. So I think you have like urge to connect your emotion and to share the courage to share it. So I think you're good.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Kayla. That was really, really, really touching. I feel like I really feel like the Flow Fam vibe in the house. I like, especially with the women and the female bodies. I just feel Yeah, I feel like you guys are like my sisters, and even though I haven't spoken much, I just feel, oh shit, 30 seconds, like,
Oh my god!
Wait, okay.
But that was nice acknowledgement though.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I'll see you guys in the other room since Marcus left us. I'll see you guys over there.
Yeah.
just talking, and then I saw the thing come up, and I was like, oh, and click, oops.
Oops. There we are. Awesome. Here we are, everyone. Wonderful. Oh, look at these smiles that are coming back in. That's nice to see coming back with a smile. Look at
Sorry,
some of
guys, I cut myself off by accident.
them. Yeah. All right. Is that everybody that's back? Yeah. Okay. So there's 12 of us. All right. Welcome back, everybody. Sabo, you know I'm gonna ask you what was good? What was going on in your parallel universe over there?
Well, you know how we always discuss, like we're not here to, I mean, it's okay to just come here, have a good time and let loose, but, we really wanted to help people get deeper within themselves and get something tangible out of Flowmasters. And today we definitely did that, and the really unique thing was, this is the first time I've been in a breakout room where the majority of the people were women. And, Marcus and I were discussing how we were very lucky to witness a room like this. And Cynthia's intention was to connect with her emotions. And with the help of my two other beautiful queens here, they really helped her reconnect. And Kemma and Kim did some very personal shares about, their limiting beliefs that I realized were the same as my limiting beliefs too. I just expressed it in a different way. So kind of seeing this same limiting belief being expressed in different ways was very eye-opening for me as I'm drawing different parallels and commonalities between the way men express certain frustrations and limiting beliefs and how they're actually very connected to the same things that the women are feeling. And then Marcus, who I could see wanted to toss the microphone to someone else as he wanted to lean into his rhyming. And when he wasn't able to rhyme, he wanted to get out of the struggle, but he remained in the struggle for 3 times the amount of time that I thought he was going to stay. So he really leaned into his intention as well. And, quite honestly, I don't know if I had the dynamism in my voice or not. I was really kind of in a state of gratitude to be in the breakout room that I was in because, if I had to be honest, I had a little bit of, I don't want to say trepidation, a little bit of intimidation with the majority being women because that dynamic I've never had. But, I just trusted the process. I trusted the group flow. Everyone held space, and it was beautiful. I mean, Kemma, she just said her intention was to just kind of go with the flow, but she contributed so much to the breakout room. I hope you know how much you contributed, Kemma. You were an all-star today, so it was wonderful. It was awesome. I'm gonna go into dinner with a big smile on my face. A lot of stories to share with my wife and my kids about what happened today. So thank you all for being part of that room and for making that room happen.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that little wrap up, Sabo. I threw you a little curveball right there because I know that it would have been I just totally trust, I trust the space that you hold right there. So wonderful, man. Over our side, it was dope. We always started with the scat, and then I kind of it was more curated different questions that were asked. But the beautiful thing is that there were just similar themes about sometimes we doubt ourselves and we limit ourselves. We are so into the struggle that we forget to have fun. And I just wanted to give a shout out particularly to Chuck, who is one of the final people that spoke, and his the level of experience that he gave, and it's almost his birthday. So happy early birthday to you, Chuck. And just the level of openness that you spoke of it was cool because it was almost like a dual thing that you were reflecting on your past self, almost like a message to your past self and to us. And I thought that was really that was awesome, and you can see that how much it plugged at my heartstrings. And so I truly appreciate the space and for everybody for coming in. You know, it was like an intimate men's space, so we all came through and like we were able to really just express ourselves. And even thread where I didn't have to ask a question, it just kind of like leaked into somebody else speaking based on somebody else's speaking on somebody else's spoken. And so with that, everybody, I want to honor everyone's time. I usually talk about people's like feedback. Does anybody have to hop off like right away? You do, Marcus? Okay. So with that being said, just want to let you know we have people from the Flow fam. Thank you so much for coming out every time. We have the if you, for those of you who are not part of Flow fam, it's basically a place where you can come out every week, and that's where after this we're going to do something called a Flow lot, where you get to express yourself more casually. And then also, if you'd like to take this a little more intimately to one-on-one experiences, I also curate those. And there's a survey right there if you're interested right there as well. And so this is slowly expanding. And I really believe that what's in here has the capabilities to really transform multiculturally. So everybody, let's come through. You want to put like your little, your fist right here. Thank you all for being generous of your time, of your expressions, of your listening. That's what truly makes it special for rallying the cipher. I know that flow is just around the corner. And I want you all, if we don't speak for them, to have a flowful rest of your weekend. All right. Boom. And for anyone that'd like to actually stay in the flow lot, you're welcome to stay in the flow lot for a little bit as well. Nathan, see you later, man.
Yeah, I gotta head out.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Later. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much.
See you, Nathan.
Oh, also, Kevin, I wanted to welcome everyone. Like, it's kind of late, but Kevin's actually want to welcome you actually to the Flow fam, man.
Oh, nice, bro.
Yeah.
Welcome in. Welcome in.
So awesome to see you here, and the way you show up, man. The way you show up and the way that you listen, dude. I told you before that you're one of the men in our circle that I've been wanting to connect with, UNCK, and so it's just awesome how, things just happen when we're immersed in the things that we love, man. And dude, you're so awesome, dude. I so appreciate you and the listening that you have.
Thank you. Thanks, man. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. What you've created is just so special. It's it's a blessing, man. What you're doing here is a gift. And I'm gonna be really brutally honest. I'm really thankful that this is the size and like where it is, because this isn't gonna last much longer, or this just blows up into something almost uncontainable. And I'm just really honored to have been able to at least spend some time here while it's this intimate and this size and at this stage of what you're creating. It's such a blessing. Thank you for giving me a place for my heart to speak.
You're welcome, man. Your heart that speaks is a contribution, so thank you back. The love cycle continues. Which one, man? Oh, nice. Kimberly's out and about right here. All right. So what do we got? Everyone? Is everyone going to be here and staying in the flow lot a little bit?
I will.
I can say like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Before I stay, I don't know how long Kimberly will stay, but I have to make a really good compliment on her beautiful scarf mask there.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
It's amazing. I'm just curious about the pattern. Actually, you can type it to me later. Nice. That's great. Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
It must.
It was an Amazon purchase, but it's random.
Oh, I see.
Okay. All right. Let's see, everyone. So for those who are actually going to leave, going to take off early, I would like to open up the space for those. I think Nick said that. Kemma said she'll stay for a little longer. How about we go into here, right here? Let's go a little bit, change the beat a little bit more to West Coast style. Some of you heard this, but I just love this beat right here. Okay. So Nick or Kemma or whoever's going to leave soon, if anyone would like to kind of like just speak on whatever their heart wants to speak on, right? This is a lot less curated, a lot less structured, and anything that wants to come up, you're welcome to.
Only if my beautiful sisters, twin sisters, can speak on more, I'd like to hear from their words more. I do love to hear more brother's story too, but I always want to hear sister's voice a little bit more. If you are willing and happy to share.
Kim, for Kim, or is it for Cynthia? Kim? Whoever
Good
wanted
question.
to.
Cynthia got it.
Yeah. Cynthia, if you're going to speak. Kimberly, I think that because you're on the go, I think that you're just cutting in and out a little bit. Yeah. So if you can find a place. But
Okay.
Cynthia, okay. But I think that Cynthia, is there something that you wanted to express? Or what do you want to express?
I'm trying to reconnect with my emotions, and then I met this awesome person named Kemma Cho. I just want to tell you, 사랑해요. And everything's going to be okay. And then in Korean, it's 괜찮아요, right? Yeah, I told you, I grew up with Korean people. I know my words.
In Japanese, itadakimasu, right?
Yes,
No,
thank you.
Just
sorry.
when you eat.
Oh, yes.
괜찮아요 is 다이조부.
Daijoubu, yes, daijoubu, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just almost
So-
right now.
Yeah. I just felt like I really connected with you just on so many levels because I grew up with a lot of your peoples from when I was 7 to 18. A lot of it was just a lot of struggles and a lot of things that they like to butcher me, saying that I was Japanese and said everything was my fault. But as I grew older, I moved out and I lived 10 minutes from Koreatown, and then all these protests and looting and rioting happened. And I remember my classmates telling me they owned liquor stores. And I remember a specific friend who said she got shot in the back and she has a mini little bullet hole in her back. And just resonating with that and reading up on that history and how they were all trying to have their own struggles. They were trying to make it through in this world. And it made me understand them a little bit more. And finally, just this year, I was able to open my heart a little bit more. Sorry, I'm struggling now. Trying to connect with my emotions. It's just been a huge struggle for me because this entire week, I just saw these videos of people getting shot. And I was just like, okay, what the fuck? I don't feel anything. What the hell's wrong with me? But as this is where Kim came in and she really helped me out and said, you know what? That having numbness is supposed to protect you. And just a lot of things that I think I even talked about with you, Gavin, that I had so many family members just passed away. Within the last 10 years, I had about 13 of them just boom, like that, just left me. It's just a lot to take in, you know. This week has been a huge struggle, but I'm fine. I'll be okay. I'll be all right. So thank you, Kimberly and Kemma, and everybody else for holding the space.
Thank you. You're really beautiful, Cynthia. You're amazing. Seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. That's such a courage. That's the beauty of your strength. Thank you.
Cynthia, that was so badass. That was.
Thank you.
I miss when you come out, or I miss you here because you contribute so much. So much. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
And also, Kemma, thank you for opening up that space. I thought that you were gonna leave in a little bit, and you're like, well, I kind of want to be generous and open it up to the other women that are in here. I love the men. Don't get me wrong. I love the men. Like the women here, it's kind of a rarity here. Would you like to speak, Cynthia? I'd love to hear you speak. So you created an invitation, right? Or kind of voluntelling. No, that was great.
Yeah, I just went off.
Remember,
yeah,
Cynthia, to release is to receive, right? That was just beautiful. You're an example of that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think last time I was here, I wanted to tell Sabo that he's an awesome dad. just want to let you know, don't ever forget that. You have two beautiful little girls who will look up to you, because me and my sister, we were those two little girls, and we thought our dad is crazy. The older he gets, the more stupid shit he says. I love him to death, but I'm just like, seriously, Dad, just go outside, go hang out with your homies. Go play baseball, do whatever you need to do. But thank you for everything that you done for me. Thank you.
I remember now. Japanese words. Arigatou gozaimasu, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Come tell me that.
Thank you, Cynthia. That was awesome. You know, thank you. Thank you for that. And it's kind of funny because my older daughter, she's turning 10, and I'm noticing that she doesn't laugh at everything I say no more. She's kind of like, when my good friends come over, I'm gonna close the door. And when you come in and you try to do the shuffle or the dab or the hype dance, it's not that funny anymore. And I'm like, man, well, I just know I gotta let her go. I gotta let her grow. I gotta let her spread her wings. You know, right? Because she's gonna sing. She's gonna sing some beautiful words one day when we get back together. Probably after she graduates college, she'll be like, yo, Daddy's cool again. But for the next 10 years, probably he's super lame with them dad jokes. But you know what? If they ever want to smoke cannabis, I'll become the cool dad instantly. And you know what's kind of crazy is one of my friend's moms, or not my friend's mom, one of my daughter's friend's moms asked me if I could smoke weed with her teenage son, who's 15 years old, but she wants him to smoke with me so that he can understand how to use the medicine properly. So I thought that shit was kind of cool. But I said, yo, does your dad know too? You gotta tell your dad too, or I can't smoke with you. And yo, Kim, she was there on Sunday when I told about how me and the dad aren't really seeing eye to eye right now because he's not doing the best job, but I kind of understand he's doing the best with what he has. He doesn't have a Flowmaster stamp that he could talk to. He just stews in his living room by himself, kind of running different scenarios through his head about why his wife's gonna leave him, why his kids don't want to see him on the weekend. And I'm like, yo, bro, you gotta listen to me. I could lead you out of this, but you gotta be like the horse that wants to drink water. I can't lead you to it and expect you to do everything, but shit, you know what? If you lose your family over this, where are you gonna be? You're not gonna ever be happy. You're gonna be like, shit, I just lost everything. I didn't learn a lesson, and that is not a blessing. Yo, that is the worst mistake. You lose everything and you didn't learn nothing. Yo, I don't know what that brother's really thinking, but I'll still offer love when he reaches out, but he's not about what I'm really feeling right now, because I know that he be lying to his kids right now, trying to get them to do things like hide things from their mother and then tell me he never said it. But I'm like, don't bother trying to explain that shit. I know what a liar is like. I don't fucking believe that shit. You gotta come with better lies if you thinking get around me. But at the same time, I still got a lot of empathy for what he's going through, because like I said, he don't got that Flow family that could teach him, that could show him, that could hold space for him. But at the same time, man, when you're not being a good dad, it's hard for me to hold that space for you. But ultimately, I do believe that coming to things like this, allowing me to release, will allow me to go into next week and be like, yo, I got some extra energy. Let's talk again. Let me show you how to get out of this. And even if you don't want to hear me, I'm going to be chirping in your ear about the right things to do, because I know that you got it in you too, because you were a good dad. You can be a good dad, but right now you're not being a good dad. And that really makes me sad when I see your kids crying and I be like, yo, I don't think your kids are lying. And even if they are, you made them feel this way. And this is why I gotta say what I say, because if you don't really just listen, then you're gonna lose out, and lose out on your mission. You lost your wife, you lost your kids, you lost your house. That's not what life's really all about. I know you worked hard to make that life happen for you. So why are you gonna do you when it's gonna lose you everything? So please listen to me, or go see a therapist, but don't talk to your two man-child friends that aren't even married and don't have kids. Yo, how they gonna fucking direct you out of this? They're telling you gotta party, you gotta start dating, and I'm like, yo, you're just a wreck right now. Who wants to date you? And he's like, I'm a good catch, and I'm like, not really, dude. You gotta improve on a lot of things, and maybe I'm just too mean to him. But you know what? I know his two friends don't tell him any good shit, so it's up to me to give him the good hit. And sometimes that hit might come in the form of a fist, but you know, I can't hit him because I'll be going to jail for domestic violence. But that's what he got in trouble for, and he still didn't learn his lesson. Yo, he thinks he's the victim, and I'm like, dude, man, what do I gotta do to get through to you, man? I don't know, but I'm gonna smoke a little weed, man, and really think about it and try to get really creative. And oh shit, I didn't know I'd be going for 3 songs, but you know what? I don't feel like I'm doing myself wrong. I actually feel right now. I'm gonna have a good night. My kids are sleeping over at my sister's house, and you know what? It's Netflix and chill, baby.
Yo, that was perfect, dude. That was a perfect 3 songs. That's my favorite number 2. Yeah. Oh, man. Man.
I feel compelled to go if you can hear me.
Yes.
Is it working?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me know if the wind gets too big and I'll hide. Sabo, thank you for sharing that. I think your anger is so important because there is a wisdom in your anger, and there's a wisdom in that fist. The fist is not just violence, it's connection. The way that all of us have been doing today, going in and out of rooms. It's the metallic intensity, the coming into integrity that frankly he needs. And also, I couldn't help but jump into his shoes and thinking about what he chooses to do. He doesn't think he's wrong because he's never had a model of what's right. He doesn't think he's a bad dad. What's a good dad or bad dad anyway? He's probably just perpetuating what his dad was doing for him. And he thinks he's a good dad because he's only had one dad. Most of us only have had one dad. Not everyone gets the opportunity to be in a room like this and get to connect with other dads like you, who shows up in the way that you do. And so it's a blessing that he has you in his life. And also my heart goes out to him because he doesn't know how to act. Where does he learn that? But from people like you.
Hey, thank you so much for that, Kim. You don't know how deeply that touched me. Yeah, I'm just overwhelmed. Thank you for that.
Sable.
I need to go.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I already went. Go ahead.
Sable, what you said about this friend, I think I'm a good catch. And you said to him, no, you're not. It's something that delivery of truth, you know, the balls it takes to actually just deliver like that. I really admire that warrior courage, that warrior spirit to say whatever it is, you know, regardless of being uncomfortable, you just say that. That's actually quite poignant because what we're dealing with our startup, one of the designers is, you know, doing stupid shit, right? And all of us are being so nice to him such that he doesn't actually get the, you know, the punch in the face or the delivery of truth. And that's something that I really grapple with because when I was younger, I was so sharp in the space of self-importance. I was so eager to poke at people and I didn't see that work. So I really polished myself, right? By being diplomatic, by being nice. And situationally it requires sometimes to get that punch in the face once in a while. So I'm very inspired by your courage to just deliver. No, you're not.
Thank you, CK. And you know, sometimes, well, sometimes words just come out of your mouth without you thinking, and I could thank Flowmasters for that. You know, it's just, you know, I'm not kidding. I mean, maybe I still would have said it, maybe more diplomatically, but I think because of Flowmasters, I'm just like, fuck it, dude. Like, I'm not gonna let you say something that's like not even in the realm of like reality right now. You're a friggin' mess, and yeah, no, you're not. You know, it's nice and direct. So, but hey, thank you very much for that acknowledgement, CK. I mean, I've struggled with like, you know, like how direct I've been with him, and sometimes like feeling like I need to be more understanding, but there are other times I'm just like, you just need to hear this because no one's told you this, and I'm going to tell you right now, and hopefully you understand that I'm here to try to help you, and this isn't me just, you know, wanting to kick someone while they're down. It's actually me trying to pick you back up.
Yeah, actually, well, actually, Cynthia, you wanted to say something, right?
Oh
Prior.
yeah, yes I did.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So whatever that you had to say, Sable, it was supposed to be said. I kid you not, my dad has yelled at a lot of the Korean kids in our neighborhood. You know, we're that one Japanese family. So one time, there was this one guy who I went to high school with. His name was John Park, who was half black, half Korean. At the time, I think he was a single dad with 3 kids living with his mom just behind our house at the time. This was a few years ago. John came home and hit my dad's car. Was drunk driving. Thank goodness he didn't hit anybody, but he was trying to sneak away, and my sister went outside, and my dad, they caught him just around the corner. And my dad confronted this guy and said, "What the hell were you doing? You hit my car, you better pay up." And this kid, the first thing he did, because he was drunk, he pulled out a knife and told my dad, "I'm gonna fucking kill you." And my dad said, "Go right ahead. What are you gonna do?" Because my dad grew up in LA. He dealt with a bunch of these black thugs when he used to play football. He's not afraid of some kid pulling out a knife saying, "I'm gonna kill you," while he's drunk. And then I remember another Korean dad came out and like tackled this guy, and I'm not sure what happened right after that. But anyway, after this kid just finally got up, he told my dad, he said he was sorry and that he would make it up somehow. My parents could have gone to the cops and could have turned him in, and if they did that, he would have gotten a criminal record and probably like on 3 different misdemeanor charges, you know. But my dad didn't turn him in. He just said, "Pay me in cash, write on paper what you did wrong, and I won't turn you in." And then since then, he hasn't, as far as we know, he hasn't done anything wrong. He probably needed that moment, you know? He needed someone to tell him, like, that you fucked up, but I'm gonna give you a chance. You know? And I think sometimes somebody needs to hear that from somebody else. You know?
Well, I needed to hear that, Cynthia, so thank you, you know. And I mean, even your shares about your dad kind of like really got me thinking about my dad and me being a dad. And, you know, now we're also talking about like me, you know, scolding another dad too. And so many kind of mixed emotions just throughout the week. You know, I mean, I'm friends with the mom, I'm friends with the dad, you know, the kids spend the night over at my house. So, you know, and, you know, being stuck in the middle where they're both still calling me and kind of understanding things about them that neither of them know, and also hearing what the kids are going through. And it's just, man, it's a lot. And, you know, I just appreciate all of you guys for holding the space for me to express what I needed to express, and also letting me know like what I did, you know, like there's nothing wrong with what I did, and actually it's what he needed to hear. So I do really appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sometimes every neighborhood needs that one crazy Asian dad that sets them straight. If for my neighborhood, that's mine.
I'm happy to be that dad in my neighborhood
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
I have to share this one to relate to the crazy Asian death story. My father used to work in United States military camp in South Korea as an auto mechanic for 25 years, and he got rid of pretty violently. But about when I was 12 or so, my father was seriously considering to migrate to United States with his job. But then my mom was, no, we're not going. I'm not going. If you want to go, you go by yourself, you know? So that's why we stayed. At that time, I thought he was totally selling American dream. So I was buying into it and let's do it, mommy, let's do it. But now I feel like I'm so grateful for my mom just, dragging down so that we stay in Korea. My father was domestic violence abuser, and my grandfather died with a severe alcoholic and alcoholism. And then my father was very traumatized when he was growing up. So that's why even though he loved me so much, then his behavior, the way he raised me was on the type of a crazy Asian daddy. He become an extra abuser. He raised me basically like a soldier. When I cry, so I understand the boys don't cry kind of thing. So I was not allowed to express anything about emotion. You gotta be practical. You gotta be straightforward. Don't bullshit it. Ever since very little. But now, and people a lot of say, I did a lot of inner work and healing, as you can tell, as if I'm talking about other people's story, but it is my real story. And I'm still struggling in a certain layer to reconcile with my dad. But I now understand where his abusive behavior came from, even though it's directly opposite to his intention. He actually loved me more than, in a way, I don't want to compare, but in a way that more empowering than my mother raised me. Because my mother wanted me to stay in a traditional female role as a passive, never speak up for my mind, and dependent on men. But my dad's principle was, I'm gonna raise you like a soldier because I love you. Of course he didn't say, never say I love you. But he said, in traditional sexist country like Korea, if you ever fail to have a nice husband, then you gotta survive by yourself. So I'll teach you how to compete with men. You gotta study hard. You gotta how to speak without emotion. You gotta be how to practical. You gotta how to be straightforward and assertive. Stand up, speak up. Of course, he has a double standard. When he disciplined me, even with the violence, I shouldn't speak anything about my emotion. But when he got drunk, he always like, oh, you're a girl. Smile a little. He never said that to my brother. So, I had a difficult childhood. But now I understand where his craziness coming from because he never given any emotional care when he was growing up. And I think it is a perpetuating story among many men who become a father when they're not ready emotionally, even though they actually they love their children and their wives. They don't know how to connect with their emotion. They never given any emotional care when they're a little boy. They're severely abused, neglected, ignored, abandoned. That's why they just can't give. Sometimes they give away in exactly opposite way. So I'm really grateful for you to share not only your story, Abel, but also your friend's story, because it is a perpetuating story, but you are leading the story can be changed nicely with not only your love for your kids and your wife, but also how you inspire your friend in a certain degree of speaking up to your truth about him, being assertively leading him. At the same time, you empathize with him. Dude, I know that story. I'm connecting with you. That's beautiful and that's amazing. Because a lot of people here, when I go to therapy, people say, oh, you have a difficult childhood trauma. And especially people who have a similar abuse with their dad, they say, you know what I did to my dad, still I do, is like, fuck you, I don't care. You know, you did a wrong to me, and you shouldn't do that. That's a violent. Fuck you, I don't care. In a way, it gives away freedom. Really, really care about my need to heal. But I don't really agree with that kind of attitude. Because deep down in my psychic, I still love my dad. When I say I still love my dad, they say, well, that's choice, but I know you're Buddhist, but you're kind of compromising there. But you know what? I think ultimately, it's not just me and my dad. My story with my dad, my grandfather who died with severe alcoholism and abuse, we're all connected in our family line, and also our family story connected with Sibo, and everyone is here, and everyone in this world. That's how I believe. If I keep saying, you know what, go fuck yourself, I don't care about abuser. Who cares? I'm a survivor, I care about only me. Then I don't think an abusive storytelling would ever stop. So even though it's tough, I'm trying. Still trying. Keep trying. Forgive. And love. And accept the way we're all wounded race as a human on earth, and we are healing together, and we're gonna move forward. Anyway, it was a little bit too long, but thank you so much. Really appreciate your holding space for me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sable. You rock.
That was
Oh,
very
man.
relatable.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. And you're right. That is one of the things that I learned as a parent is, broken parents raise broken kids. And, my wife always wanted me to work on my emotional intelligence. And I was pretty good at what I like to call faking emotional intelligence, meaning I knew what would make my wife angry or so I just wouldn't do those things, but I really wouldn't sit in the emotion with her. But once we had 2 daughters, I realized that for me to emotionally connect with them, I would really need to not just act like I understand their feelings, but really try to feel those feelings. And the side benefit is by tapping into that, I was able to connect with my wife even more deeply, and we've been married for 12 years now, and I could honestly say, that I love her more today than the day that I met her. I'm more infatuated with her. I'm more impressed with her. And I know it's because I've been able to, it's not because, like, by me being able to open up, it's allowed us to get closer, even though she wanted this emotional availability before, and I thought I was giving it to her, but after having daughters, that really pushed me over. And, I hope to break the cycle so that the next generation of Asian fathers, could be present for their kids and their wife the way that I know we can be.
Yeah, that was so amazing. Man, Kemma, that was an amazing share. Like, well, everybody, like, because you've only been here for a little bit, but like, just, I felt there was so much compassion, like forgiveness, and forgiveness, and just understanding, and how much inner work you've done that I don't even know that has you to actually be able to really help, like, reconcile and see the gift inside of your, I don't know, like, you're seeing the lighting inside of your father's, the way that he carried himself, That is like, man.
Yeah, cannot. A lot of my friends growing up, they had all similar dads, like you were saying, all same appa. They were all military men. I remember some of them were saying, "Oh shit, like I'm gonna get in so much trouble. I'm so fucked. My dad's gonna make me do like they're gonna make me pull weeds in the garden. He's gonna make me do push-ups. He's gonna make me like exercise or something." They all said that to me. And I thought, my dad never did me. He would probably throw me in the garage. Anyways, yeah. I can totally relate what you're saying.
Thank you
And I-
guys. I really appreciate your understanding holding space. I really, really appreciate it. Seriously. Thank you. Look, this is Crystal. Do you see? This is Jade. Jade wing. Wing-shaped crystal. We're flying here with this crystal, Jade. Angel wing crystal here today. I hope that you feel the wing on your back too, to fly high with your own dream and your gift.
Yeah, Kimmy, you have a thing you like. You love feathers, huh? That's yeah. It's
I am a shamanic practitioner. My grandmother, my father's mother was a Korean shaman. And so I initiated universal shamanist practice. And then my power animal in the shamanic practice is bird. Bird, that's why.
oh wow, wow, Sabo, wow.
Thank you for sending that energy, Kama. I just wanted to say, like, I received that crystal energy. My older sister's name is actually Crystal, and I, like, in the last few years, I've, like, my sister and I have always had we were close when we were younger, right? And but when my dad passed away, my older sister became like my second mom. Right, and out of care and out of love, not the mom that I wanted, but what can you do, with such love, and but in hindsight and becoming an adult now, like I love my sister, I love that she's a crystal. She shines so brightly. She gives so much. Like she just has so much radiance in her, and I wanted to kind of give her a little shout out here and just kind of just talk about her in the space, if that's cool with you guys. But like, even though my sister like nagged me, would always tell me what to do, how to do certain things, and like, I know that the real intention was that she fiercely loved me and she fiercely cared for me, and she took on a lot of masculine energy. Because Crystal with the C, yeah. She took on a lot of masculine energy, so she never really had time to like really dive deep into her feminine energy. So she was really into like very aggressive sports, like rugby. Like she was always like the one Tom girl, like she just didn't give a fuck about what guys thought. She said, why is it only that guys can do stuff like that, girls can't. She was just always a strong woman of her own. And so I admire her and I'm grateful for her. So she's definitely a crystal in my life, just like a star, just always constant, always there for me. So yeah. So thank you for sending that crystal energy through here. Yeah, and seriously, thank you to all the women, in the space. Y'all are like super dope queens. Like, definitely coming through with the wisdom, the love, the acknowledgement. The words that you guys share, the words that you affirm, make us better men, and so we look to your counsel, we look to your guidance, and we look to your wisdom. So thank you for all of your presence. So
I have to shortly pop out now because I have another meeting coming up. But I want to say thank you, everyone. First of all, thank you, Gabby. This is amazing. You're just creating a magical flow for everyone. So thank you so much for your amazing work. And then everyone here, like Cynthia, Kimberly, Sibo, Edwin, you're also CK. I don't know whether he's still there, but also other people who are here. I just feel so much connection, and that's what makes me keep going. Even though we live in a different part of North America and we're all different towns and different background stuff, but it just feels so. I keep hearing my stories in your story, and I keep seeing myself and you, each of you, and then it's just beautiful. It's amazing, and it just recharges me so much. So thank you so much for holding, space, and then sharing your amazing stories, and then resilience, beauty, strength. And Edwin, I have to say, I think the men who are in the flow are already strong and a very amazing men. You just got even better with these queens. So that's all it takes. You guys are more than good enough. It's just even next level. You're going with the queen. So that's what I wanted to say. And have a wonderful weekend, guys. And then thank you again so much. I love you guys.
Thank you, Kevin. Much love to you. Wow, it's awesome. Yeah, this was a really powerful, especially this. I mean, the whole thing, with especially in this flow a lot to see all three of your perspectives, because it isn't very a treat, since it's typically really heavily like male dominated, just with like men are tend to, I guess, just coming through or just through word of mouth, but I'm just seeing how, Sable and I are both just seeing how powerful this is for women's spaces. And the few times that I've done it, I did it recently with a group, but it was actually more women. And then at the end, just 3 stayed back. And it was so incredibly moving to see the way that they all kind of like are acknowledging each other, the way, all of them go deep, just like all of you have. And it's just it creates a whole new realm that it's different, and it's fresh. I'm almost speechless, because it opens up new possibilities. Like, ideally for me, I want to create like Flowmasters, with the Fridays we have the co-ed. I want to create a more, even more than the Ganja Flowmasters, another one, another like men's container, and then a woman's container. Be able to facilitate spaces also for women to really be able to express themselves. And yeah, this is totally just opening up the realm of possibility. So yeah, Cynthia, Kimberly, and Kemma, who's off, you help to crystallize that more. Yeah, it's truly touching. Yeah. Another thing that I want to say about Sable, when you took that stand, it actually reminds me of this. I was talking to my friend. Oh, you saw it yesterday. Actually, you saw it in that Facebook Live, but it reminded me of this distinction that he does in coaching. There's something called distinctions. It's like this or that. It's kind of like a black and white thing, but it's just a way of simplification. And so he's like, there's a difference between being impressive versus being impactful. And if you're going to strive for trying to be impressive, like I gave this thing about, you know, when I first joined Toastmasters, I was like this gung-ho. Went through my manual in a couple months. I competed. I was a model speaker. It's just like, oh, this is the evaluations contest. I'll be the model speaker because I want all the feedback, right? And so I got really good really fast because of just the reps. But then it was also like an egoic thing of really wanting to posture. And so people would come up to me a lot and be like, wow, you're so great, you're so eloquent and all this kind of stuff. And in the beginning, it was such a good to my ego, like, oh, okay. But then after a while, it's just so dry. And I felt like there was also this disconnect with me and the people where they were like, oh, I can't be like that. Or I can't get to that. And they're usually like minority, like people that are more minority, like, I can never be like that. I was like, yeah, you could. And then on the other hand, I remember times when I messed up. Or I just allowed myself to be a little more goofy or something like that. And like, it was those moments where there's this one lady who's like the CEO, and she runs this like a newspaper for African-American newspaper, like online newspaper. And she has to be like all put together. And then she usually gives a very authoritative speeches, but then she gave one where she just like started talking about like what she's learned and how she's learning to also embrace the other side of her. And it was, she was allowing herself to get messy. She's like, so I'm gonna be messy like what Gavin teaches, or Gavin taught me in the last speech. And she had what wasn't present. She was like endearing. She was warm, and like she kind of fumbled over certain things, and she went within, she laughed at herself, and it was the most powerful speech that I'd ever given. And people came up to her in different ways that she's never gotten before, and she was just like, wow, like, and thank you for getting messy in the last speech. You see, so that was like not striving for and being impressive, but being impactful, and as a byproduct, you become like impressive. But it's just such an interesting, just almost in a way a nuanced distinction. And so what you did, Sable, whether he took it or not, I really see you as being on the other side of being impactful. I'm not going to please you. I'm not here to try to impress you. That was fucked up. You don't know how he was going to take that, but you were putting yourself at risk to take a stand for something that you believed so deep inside of yourself that you went out of character of how you normally would communicate with him. And you wanted him to know that. So it showed that you cared about him too. And like, I wrote in my context today that I'm a courageous warrior. And that was being a courageous warrior right there, Sable.
Hey, thank you so much, Gavin. I mean, that story and the analogy to the impact versus impress, like that really resonates with me as well. And, it's actually like the root of some of my insecurities as well, which is trying to impress people and then not knowing like why they like me. Is it because I'm impressing them, or do they really like me for me, And yeah, I really appreciate, I mean, as I told you guys, I was struggling with the way I handled the situation. And what I was most upset was, at least on my side, was just that I exploded, exploding, whether it was the right thing or not. Like, I did lose control, but I do feel like that is what he needed to see at the time, because like everybody else has just been, getting his back and telling him what he's doing is okay. So, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Well, there's with that being said, it's 7:17. I'm gonna go for a little walk. But I want to just, thank for all of your individual and connecting contributions, for continuing to be and show up in the space, to be, like I say, being so given of your shares, and also the way that you listen. And it's just so special. is so special. I was like kind of saying in my, anyways, it's just really special. So, arigatou gozaimasu. So I want all of you to have a really flowful rest of your weekend.
Yeah, hey, and you know, before we go, you know, like, I hope this doesn't make anyone throw up, but I got to acknowledge our bromance, Gavin. You are a really special person. Being able to go through this journey with you, learning from you, helping you, it's been awesome, you know, and we've been going through this program together. There are areas where I struggled, areas where you struggled, and we came together to fucking form Voltron and just smash it. It's awesome, dude. And you know, one thing that really stuck out to me today was what Kevin Bass said, is, you know, we were architecting how big Flow Fam could be, right? And we were really like living in the future, but what he said is 100% true. It's probably never gonna be as special as it is right now. So just breathe into that, Gavin. Feel that you've accomplished something that supersedes what the startup entrepreneurs that do billion-dollar exits have done, because they followed a formula and you created something that didn't exist before. And that is something that you should be very, very proud of. So thank you, Gavin.
Thank you for that. Yeah, man, this is a fresh space, isn't it, dude? This is a fresh space. You're right, dude. Heck yeah. You're right, man. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, man. Good job, Gavin. Yeah, dude, just take it in. Damn. Thank you for that, man. I received that right now, man. Thank you for that. You're right. You're right. You're right. Kim, thank you. That's noted. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Wow, you want to know something? Receiving feels good. That feels really good. It feels really good.
You deserve it, dude. I mean, you hold the space for all of us here. So, you know, it only makes sense, you know, to acknowledge you, you know, like, I think many times leaders are just, they get acknowledgement when they slip up, you know, and they fuck up, you know, but being there and holding it together every week, you know, coaching me to make sure that I could show up in my breakout rooms the way I want to, you know, that's all things that you should really remember and breathe into and live into and lean into, especially as we're figuring out, you know, the next steps and what is possible when we put our minds together with this limitless mindset and belief that we have done things that have changed the world.
You know what I would normally do? I would deflect and acknowledge somebody else, or acknowledge you back or something like that. I'm not going to do that right now. Thank you for that.
My pleasure, my friend.
Yeah. To give is to give is to receive. You can't fully give without being open to receiving. Yeah. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. You're right, everyone. Like, this is really sacred, because in some way it really isn't going to be the same. You know, the more that it grows, it's like this is so intimate. It's like this is just like the grassroots, like, yeah. really prize these. Yeah, man, it's not gonna be the same. So, really, like what Chuck was saying, right, Edwin?
Yeah, that was crazy. Like today's session was like today was a little bit more of a like a serious one. It was more of like
Yeah, it was.
more of a serious one. Yeah, it was more of like instead of like the happy vibes. But today, I think today was like really needed for like everybody. You know, I think just the sacredness and the serendipity, and the timing of all the messages. It's just like I love how relevant and how like relatable, how human and how real like everyone gets. You know, it just connects us all throughout humanity. You know, and it allows us to see our own humanity and allows us to see other people's humanity, and then yeah. But today was very much needed. You know, like considering what all the guys had shared in that room. Um, yeah, it was cool having Chuck come through.
Yeah, another perspective for someone that's about to retire, right? Wow. Yeah. All
right, guys. I actually got to go eat dinner, but like I didn't want to leave because I just didn't want to leave, but my belly is telling me it's time to eat. So
Yes.
You guys all have a beautiful weekend.
Yes.
Gavin. Oh, Edwin, I'll be seeing you tomorrow morning too. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cynthia, Kim. Man, you know, I wasn't just saying what I said earlier as just something like cool to say in the breakout room. Today really was a special breakout room. There and the flow lot too was also just, I'm gonna remember this for a very long time. So thank you both for really showing up and bringing that divine feminine power and reconnect with those emotions and use the numbing when you need to use the numbing is what I learned today. So thank you for that lesson.
You really are like our big brother to me. Thank you.
Yeah,
welcome.
so you're like big, cool, like I don't know, brother or uncle or something like that, man. You are, dude. Seriously.
I love it.
I see you that way too. You know, it's just like, oh, so cool.
I love the kids. Bring the kids over.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, Kim, we'll make that happen too. I hear you on that. Let's do that. Okay. All right.